It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show.
Welcome to the best show that you'll ever know. It's the Dep Lewis Show, and this is episode 37. This is your host, Dep Lewis, and today is Sunday, June 18th, 2023. Hope you're having a great day out there, and welcome to the show. Another great installment of the Dep Lewis Show. We're here to talk about video games and much more, so that's what we're here to do today. And just welcome to the show. So, Sunday, let's see what's been going on. Today's Father's Day, so happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. And tomorrow's Juneteenth. I don't have to work my regular job because it's Juneteenth. So shout out to that Juneteenth being a holiday. That's really awesome. And just shout out to you, loyal listener. I hope you had a good week. We've been playing a lot of games. Hope you've been having some fun. Hope you've been making some money. Hope things have been going great in your life out there. And my week's been pretty good. So I'm here to talk about some video games this week. I have a little more to talk about in the first section, the what I've been playing section. There's a couple games there this week. On the mid section, we're going to go over the what I've been seeing in the video game world. So we're going to talk about some news and releases and things like that. In the last section today, we're going to have some miscellaneous talk. It's the miscellaneous talk section. And on today's docket, we have some comedy talk. And then we have some sports talk. The wonderful worldwide world of sports. We're going to get into that at the end of the show in the miscellaneous talk section. So welcome to the show. Hope you've been doing good out there. I just want to thank you for listening right now. But if you'd like to support even more, please follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Like, subscribe, rate, comment, review, turn on notifications, tell a friend, tell an enemy, tell a dog, tell a cat, tell a squirrel, tell a bunny, tell a bird, tell anyone you want. As long as they can press play on a podcast or, get a paw or whatever on a podcast, bring them on. Email any questions or feedback to DepLewisShow@gmail.com. That email box is open 24/7, 365 for you to slide on in with whatever you'd like to send to me. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Patreon, and more on my Buzzsprout page. The Buzzsprout page is the perfect hub for you to find the perfect place to listen to this podcast. And if you'd like to subscribe even further, www.patreon.com/DepLewisShow. You can support the show on the ground floor tier right now. There's 100 spots available. It's $1 a month. The price will never change, and you'll get access to all the content on the Dep Lewis Show Patreon forever. So that is the deal there. It's a great, enticing deal for you to want to subscribe and support the show on Patreon. So please go do that. I would love for you to do that. Clips of the show are on YouTube and TikTok. And we're going to have a great show for you today. So, the structure, we're going to talk about what I've been playing in the first section. The mid-section, we're going to talk about some video game news. In the third section, we're going to talk some comedy and some sports this week. And that's the miscellaneous talk section. So that is what we are going to do today. So let's get it started. So some notes from last show. Early on in the show, I was like, hey, I'm just going to discuss these showcases that happened. I was talking about the midsection. It was supposed to be a PlayStation showcase, but I was just misspeaking, and it was the Summer Games Fest 2023 information. So my apologies for getting those confused and possibly confusing you on my show last week. But once I got into the content, I think you would realize it was Summer Games Fest I was talking about, not PlayStation. So I just made the error a couple times in the early section saying, hey, this is coming up. So that was wrong. The PlayStation Showcase was actually a couple weeks back and was a really cool show. This was actually Summer Games Fest I talked about in that midsection from last week. So please go listen to the show from last week. Episode 36 was really good for video game news for like the rest of the year and upcoming things and things to look forward to. We talked about Summer Games Fest and the Xbox Showcase and the Starfield Direct. So there's a lot of information on that episode, and that episode was actually a little bit longer than normal. So go back and listen if you want to get a good idea in your mind of what's coming out and what to prepare for. You can build your own calendar in your mind of what you're going to play. And I think that podcast would really help you. So go back and listen to that if you'd like to. But if not, we're moving right along. There's plenty of video game information and news and happenings to talk about. So that is what we're going to do. So let's get into it. In this first section, we're going to talk about what I've been playing. So this game has been dominating this section for weeks now. And I think that is going to still continue. And that is The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. So I'm going to tell you about what's been going on in Tears of the Kingdom for me this week. I have finally found Kakariko Village. I have finally found Hateno Village. So I found the two villages I've been wanting to see that are, we're in Breath of the Wild as well, but I wanted to see what's going on in Tears of the Kingdom with these two. And I'm very happy I found them. So Kakariko Village ended up, what's been going on? I bought the Sheik armor in Kakariko Village. I dropped 1,800 rupees to buy the Sheik armor so I can be very stealthy. That was one of my favorite armors in Breath of the Wild, so I was excited to buy that in this game. When you immediately get there, the prices are really high in the store, so you have to help the lady's grandmother out. She wants you to brew her a certain potion, and it allows the grandmother to feel better from being sick. You need to, I think the 3 ingredients that were milk, Hylian rice, and there was one more. It might have just been a mushroom or something like that, but there's 3 ingredients. They kind of tell you what they are as well. You mix them up together, give it to the lady, and then she's like, okay, my grandmother's healed. I can go lower the prices in my shop again. So I actually spent all my money on buying the Sheik armor, but I was very happy with it, and I have kind of immediately got my money back up. I'm back up to like 1,000 rupees now, so I'm pretty happy with how that's going. I've just been kind of roaming around more so than mainlining. I've just been kind of farming for resources and hunting and things like that. So that's been my primary way of making rupees in this game is to sell basic ingredients like cooking up 5 mushrooms and making a dish and then selling that, or cooking up 5 raw meats in a dish and selling that, so on and so forth. I'm not really trying to give up or sell a lot of my like precious like items or metals or minerals and things like that, but I've started consistently kind of cooking up things and selling them, and still trying to maintain some for my own self for like my adventures. But if I'm mainly getting resources right now, I'm just kind of doing some more farming than anything. So I've been trying to get my rupees up. I want to buy some of these outfits. In Hateno Village, I actually dyed my clothes. One of my outfits, my Hylian outfit that I bought, was the first outfit I bought. I dyed it all yellow, so it looks really cool. And that's what I did in Breath of the Wild as well. So I'm just kind of bringing some of my Breath of the Wild love into this game, which is really neat. And I think it's cool to see these towns from the first game and the second game. Kakariko Village is basically the same, minus like I don't know how to describe it, but like a disturbance. Something dropped from the sky, and Zelda said that no one's allowed to go in there, so they have people guarding it. And if you try to go into it, it's not possible at this point. So that's one of the main. There's 3 entrances to Kakariko Village, like 3 like normal entrances, and one of them's blocked now. So the one you would generally enter from the last game, is blocked. So there's some cool stuff going on. The lady who runs Kakariko Village is now her like granddaughter or her daughter, so that's pretty cool too. So you're seeing some lineage there. And I was thinking you'd have to capture the chickens or the cuckoos or whatever you call them, the cuckoos. I don't know, the cuckoos. But you don't have to capture them, it doesn't look like. But then there's a ton of them around the village too, so that was cool to see at least. I was like, man, I don't know if I'm going to be able to capture all these guys. But Kakariko Village is very cool. Let's see. I was talking about my arrows. I was really low on arrows. I'm back on deck with those since I've got my money up. And I've also been checking all the crates and barrels and things like that more so. I've just kind of been playing this game a little bit slower and trying to get Link built up. I've done a few shrines here and there, but I haven't upgraded. I haven't been able to get 4 and upgrade my hearts or stamina in a little while, so I haven't made too much progress on the shrines. I think I'm getting close to the 40-hour mark in this game, and I'm loving it. I still think I like this better than Breath of the Wild. I still think it is the top game of the year for the Dep Lewis Show for 2023. I think it's got a pretty good lead on that too. I need to probably do a mid-year check-in at some point for where I stand with my games, but I'm just telling you right now, this is the top dog for now. What else have I been doing? I found Hateno Village. I've been having fun there. I met with Cece, the fashionista lady, who's actually trying to run for mayor. I guess she's trying to usurp the other mayor, or they're trying to have an election. And I'm apparently, part of her campaign. I'm going to hand out mushrooms to people around the town, trying to do her bidding, and there's a lot of fun little side story stuff going on in Hateno Village, so that's been fun. I've got up to the ancient lab, and I'm not unable to get in there because I'm trying to get Robbie to go to Hateno Village. So that's something I'm still working on. He's still back there at the lookout tower. So I've just been having a great time. I finally, just before recording the podcast today, I found the tall tower near Hateno Village in it's like Lanaru or something section. So I opened up a good portion of the map that I was blanked out on and was really trying to find out. So I was glad about that. And it was one of those towers. Sometimes these towers in the game have like a gimmick of how you can get into them. And I came across this one, and then it really was just, hey, enter the tower, and you're able to go through it. So, that was a good mix-up, and I like the variety in like difficulty and what you have to do in this game. I think they do a good job of what's the word? Sidestepping your expectations. You might think it's one thing, but it's actually the other. And I think they do that consistently, and it's all mixed together pretty greatly in this world, and it's just really fun, and it makes it all fresh walking around everywhere you go in this world, and especially with the way I've been I call it Morrowinding around, because it's what I like to do in Elder Scrolls Morrowind is just not do the main story and just go forge your own path. So I've been Morrowinding around this game a good bit, and the result of that has been getting my rupees up, getting my arrows back on deck. So I think this will ultimately help me in pushing forward in this game. I'm still, I've only done I completed one of the sage temples. I'm sort of halfway through the Goron section. One of my friends just reported today he's done all 4 of the sages. That's pretty impressive. So, I still have still have four friends playing this game and kind of actively talking about it. So that's been fun too. That doesn't normally happen. Most of my friends are just kind of playing the game here and there. They're not checking, all the releases and things like I am. So it's fun to have that aspect to it too. So that's helping its status as Game of the Year for me as well. So if you haven't played The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, I highly, highly recommend it. It's amazingly fun. I love just exploring that world, and I could easily see, I think a lot of people will spend 100 hours in this game. One of my friends has almost hit the 100-hour mark, so he's leading the way on hours as far as my friend group, so that's pretty cool. And, a really, really great game. So that's all I have to say about it this week. And, go play it. So, all right. So this has been the main game dominating this section for a couple weeks now, since May 12th. It's been over a month. So you've been hearing a lot of Zelda talk in this section. So, this week I've actually dabbled into a few other games as well. So I bought the game called Humanity, which is on PS5. It's from the creators, or some of the creators, of Tetris Effect Connected. And it's really cool. You're the protagonist of this game. The person you control is a dog, which I love dogs. And you're trying to control the flow of humans and, trying to get them to the light. So the dogs are trying to bring the humans to the light, and that is the main objective. And you have different ways to, navigate them through the world. So the sounds and stuff in this game are very cool. And the little dog actually has my dog in real life going crazy, so that's funny. My dog is really, I don't know if sensitive is the right word, but she doesn't like when dogs are on TV or other animals, or it just kind of makes her look at them. And this game is no exception to that, because the little dog is cute and cool, and he barks to make the people go a certain way. So that had my dog very curious and interested. So that's just pretty funny. And the controls seem really cool in this game, and I really like the music. And I'm still just in the tutorial section, learning how to bark and make people move, and then people can climb up walls. Those are the 2 things I've seen so far. So I've been, haven't really dedicated much time to playing other games besides Zelda, but I did jump into this because I wanted to try it, and I think it's really cool. So I'm just going to keep playing this at some point throughout the year, and I'll be reporting back, to this podcast more on my progress as I go. And so that game was Humanity. Seems really, really cool, and I'm glad I purchased it. And maybe I'll try some more of it out this week and try to make some progress. It seems like kind of a good game where you can play, just for a little bit of time and accomplish some things or beat a level. So that's a nice, kind of a nice thing to mix in there as well. All right, so the next game I purchased recently, and I haven't played too much of it because of Zelda, is Street Fighter 6. I just wanted to say I've been playing around with this some. I've been kind of still just doing the tutorial stuff and trying to feel out the characters. I haven't really taken the battles online yet or done the story, so I don't have too much to report on Street Fighter 6. Besides that, I think it looks amazing. I think it looks exactly what I want to in a fighting game, so I think that's perfect. I think it just came out at an awkward time, and I anticipate playing a lot more of this throughout the year. I really want to get on the online side of things and just start doing some online battles. But just one of my thoughts on this, I think I kind of like the modern control style. I played Street Fighter 4 was my favorite one favorite one of the franchise, and I used the classic controls for that game. So I'm kind of used to those, but I'm getting a little bit used to the modern control style. I'm just starting off with that since I haven't played a fighting game in a while, since Mortal Kombat 11, I think, was the last one I really did like a deep dive into playing. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to stick with the modern control style or switch to the classic style. I just don't know yet, but I've been playing, and in my training I've been doing the modern control style, so I just wanted to mention that. It might be useful to you. just for getting a understanding and a grasp of the characters and a little bit easier introduction to them. I think that's a cool part about it, but it seems like you want to be building to the classic control style for the higher levels of Street Fighter 6, skill. So I don't know, but I don't have a lot of skill, I wouldn't say. So the modern control style is probably where I need to be. But Street Fighter 6 is looking very cool. I'm going to anticipate this game being on my Game of the Year list this year, from already what I've seen and just how much I like Street Fighter in general. I just haven't I can't just haven't had the time to necessarily dedicate to it, or I've just kind of been choosing Zelda over it more as kind of the case, I guess. So Zelda is really leading the charge here in my favorite games of the year. But Street Fighter 6 seems outstanding in every way, so if you have any hesitation about buying it, I don't think you should. And if you like fighting games, I think it's probably the perfect one to go buy. I've also seen that, we got Mortal Kombat 1 coming out this year, and I also saw that we have a new Tekken coming out this year, so there's no shortage of fighting games. They're coming out back to back to back, so it's kind of like when you see a CVS and a Walgreens on the same corner. These fighting games are doing the same thing over here, so they're all releasing, giving us all the options all at once. And I don't know how I'm going to play them all, but I probably will play some Mortal Kombat because I love Mortal Kombat. Tekken maybe not so much, but I was interested to see that Tekken, has a new release coming out. That's pretty cool. All right, so the last game that I played this week, and it's actually something I really liked. That's the spoiler right there. And I've been playing the Final Fantasy 16 demo. So I actually I started this off and was like, man, this is really cool. The graphics look cool. The story's cool. I like the main character. Clive, he seems neat. And once I got to the combat tutorial, I was like, man, I don't like this. I was expecting some type of combat like from Final Fantasy VII Remake or some type of... I don't know what I was expecting because I don't think Final Fantasy's been turn-based in a while, but this was, more of a... like I've heard people compare it to Devil May Cry, but it's more of like a fighting style of like Elden Ring or Dark Souls or Demon Souls. Like you're actually, you have moves and different combos and you're parrying and things like that and you're dodging. So it has a little more, seriousness to the fighting. But as I've been playing through it more, it is a little more fluid than something like that. I don't know if it's going to be so intense on how to complete these fights. I don't know. But I pressed on a little bit after the combat tutorial. I even came and wrote some notes after the combat tutorial. I saved the game and stopped, and I was like, okay, I don't think this is for me because I don't like the style of combat. I'm not into that as much. But I kept playing and pressing forward, and I think I do like this game. And I think the combat is kind of fun. And I'm playing it on, you can pick story mode or another mode, and I'm playing it on story mode. So I think that is the way for me to go. I don't think the combat is going to be a hindrance to me from what I'm getting as I'm pressing forward. So it's making me want to play it some more. This demo is really cool. It definitely has some Game of Thrones comparisons, I feel like. You're basically in a town square at the beginning. The king shows up with his entourage from out of town. You're showing him respect. It just has that whole kind of vibe to it. It really does have a good Game of Thrones vibe, and I love Game of Thrones. And it's really cool. The main character... I think it's his little brother is the one who's the Phoenix. He's slated to be the heir to the throne, and the main character's mom is really icy cold and not nice to him at all. And but the father is nice to him. The king's actually nice to you, Clive. So that's pretty cool and nice. And he has like a little bit of a a hidden relationship. He's like, hey, I know your mom's kind of a jerk, but I love you, blah blah blah. And he kind of has his back. So that's nice to see. So that's kind of the dynamic of this. It's like a royal family, and you're Clive. He's the son. He's kind of he's not the son to take over the throne. He's the other son. He's the older son, and they call him the Shield. So he's more of he's a soldier, and I don't know. It's cool. You're gonna play from 3 different time eras in Clive's life, is what I've heard. So I've already seen 2 of those. The game starts out more in the future, and then it kind of rolls back, saying, hey, this was how many ever years before, and I don't know. I really like the story so far. It's very fun. I like the characters. I like the graphics. I'm putting up with the fighting so far. It seems okay. It's probably my least favorite aspect. I'm not really into... I don't know. I just don't know if it's generally something I play, that style of fighting. But I'm going to keep pushing forward with this. I think you can play this demo for like an hour and a half, and it's the beginning of the game. And I do have that GameStop gift card burning a hole in my pocket. So this could be something I pick up. I've kind of flipped on it in the last... 12 hours or whatever it is. after finding that combat tutorial. And, I even played some this morning before recording this podcast, to get some gameplay footage. And I don't know, I think I'm sold on it. It's really cool. It releases Thursday, so next week, which is always fun, that it's actually coming out very soon from when I've been trying it. So it comes out Thursday, if you're listening in real time, June 22nd, 2023 for $69.99 on the PlayStation 5. The graphics look amazing. Music's been cool. Characters are cool. Final Fantasy 16 demo is really, really, really impressive. So go play it if you have any interest. I think it's a really cool thing. They have this great demo out there. And they may have flipped the sale. They may have flipped me on purchasing it. So we'll see. Maybe I'll be reporting to you next week about that. I think it could be an okay one to play alongside Zelda, since it's more of a story focused thing. It's seeming like there's a lot of cutscenes, a lot of walking around and talking to people, and I've been liking the lore. I've been reading the menu lore stuff, and I don't know. I think it could be something cool to play, so we will see. I'll definitely be reporting back to you on that, but if not, I just want to tell you the demo looks really good. I think all signs are pointing to this being a good game and a good entry in the Final Fantasy series, and hopefully I'll have some more to talk about it in the future from my personal playing, but maybe it'll come up again in the future, just talking about some of the impact on the release. I like talking about that and getting the vibe from the video game world of how they're liking it and what people are saying about it. So we'll probably hear some more about Final Fantasy 16 on this podcast in the future. So that has been everything that I've been playing this week. So it's been a major Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom heavy week, as it's been for the last few weeks. I've also played some Humanity. I started that, dabbling in that. I played a little bit of Street Fighter 6. That game is looking amazing. I just haven't dedicated the time to playing it yet. And then I got into the Final Fantasy 16 demo, so you can go play that right now if you'd like to as well. And I highly recommend that demo. I don't know if I'm going to highly recommend the full game, but the demo has done a great job of selling me on it. And I think that's what it is intended to do, and I think they executed, so that's pretty awesome. So we're going to wrap up this first section of the show. We're going to take a quick break. You're going to hear some great music from friend of the show, Volnus, and then we're going to come back for the mid-section where we talk about what I've been seeing across the video game landscape. We've been having a lot of news and things like that, so there's two smaller events I'd like to talk about. And then we're going to talk about some upcoming releases. I want to kind of set the stage for what's coming out for the next, couple months, and talk about what I'll be playing possibly and kind of what my general plan is. So that's what we're going to get into in the midsection. So, you can take a quick break if you'd like, but please come back in just a second and listen to the midsection of the Dep Lewis Show, episode 37. Come on back. Welcome back to the midsection of Dep Lewis Show, episode 37. This is where we talk about what I've been seeing across the video game landscape. So that is what we're going to talk about. So today there was a few small showcases that happened last week that I'd like to talk about. So, we've had people call it the E3, that's not E3. So we've had all these different showcases at different times. I feel like most of them have been wrapping up. We already had the big, the PlayStation showcase, the Xbox showcase, and then we've had the Summer Games Fest. But we've also been getting a few more this week of more individual showcases. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And then we're going to talk about the upcoming release calendar of what is coming out that I think is interesting and what I could possibly be playing. And just talk about the general state of releases for the next couple months, because there's a few games here and there, but nothing too much. So it's going to be we're in a decent little time to catch up on some things if necessary. So that's what we're going to talk about a little bit later on in this section. But let's start with the Ubisoft Forward. So Ubisoft had an event, a showcase, and I watched Nextlander stream over most of it. And then also, shout out to IGN for the summary. IGN does a great job of summarizing these events after they happen and organizing it and telling you what happened. So I use them from time to time to get some information on these, and it's just really helpful as a recap. So, go watch Nextlander stream and talk over this, and go read IGN if you want to see the full list of what was talked about in this Ubisoft Forward. I'm going to go over what I think is interesting and what I might possibly be playing, and that's what I want to tell you about today. So the first thing from the Ubisoft Forward is Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. I've seen, we saw some of this last week in the Summer Games Fest, I believe it was, and it looked cool, and then it looks like the coolest thing I saw here as well. So they show some gameplay. Brad Shoemaker from Nextlander compares it to Ori, saying there's Ori-like combat and platforming around. I think that's a good comparison. It seems cool. It is a 2D action Metroidvania. It is semi-open world, and more areas open up to you as you gain new powers and improve your skills. It launches January 18th, 2024 on all platforms. So I think that is a great release date for this game. If this game was coming out sometime soon, I don't know if I'd be as hyped to buy it or quick to purchase it, but I think come January, this could be something that I want to play. I don't know if it's going to be a full price game or not, but Prince of Persia is a cool franchise. I have a pretty good bit of nostalgia for it from back in the day. I think, the 360 era is kind of when I got into it myself. Maybe possibly before, but a couple of those games were really pretty awesome back in the day, and they're definitely unique in their own way. And I think it's cool that it's coming back. I think the art style is definitely a cool part of this, and a cool part of Prince of Persia, and just kind of the combo of the fighting and the platforming is really neat, and the side-scrolling nature of it, and I think it's cool. I think I don't think it's going to revolutionize any type of gaming, but I think this kind of could be a cool blast from the past with updated or refreshed mechanics and things in it that are going to make it hopefully pop in the modern era. So hopefully this will get a lot more fans onto the Prince of Persia side of things, because a lot of fans, the last time I'm thinking this game is popular was probably in 2007 or something like that. So, at this point, that's been a long time. So there's a lot of people who probably don't even know about Prince of Persia necessarily, and it'll be interesting to see if it can have a resurgence. But that was one of the cool things I saw from this Ubisoft Forward. Let's see. All right, the next thing that I have some interest in, I don't know if I'll ultimately play it, but Star Wars Outlaws. It gets a 10-minute gameplay showcase here. This is in development at Massive Entertainment, and Ubisoft is calling it the first open-world Star Wars game. So, I don't know. I think immediately if I was looking for some Star Wars gaming, I think I would want to play Star Wars Jedi Survivor. But this is something I'll be interested in. I'm a semi-Star Wars fan, and I think Star Wars is a perfect franchise for video game opportunity. So this could be really cool. I just don't know. I don't know too much about Massive Entertainment. I don't know too much about the story or what's going to be going on in this game, or the combat possibly. But I just think it's interesting, I think it's interesting, but I also think you need to be aware of of Star Wars a little bit in video game. I think they can have some misses, so I just don't know. But this seems like it could have some potential. They're definitely showing it off a good bit. Definitely a lot of people talking about it. I don't know. Don't think we have an anticipated release date. I would guess possibly 2024 would be likely, but something cool to be checking into and looking for, and I think you should check it out too, at least. All right, something else from this forward that seems, I don't know, it's kind of memorable. I don't think I'll play it, but it's called Avatar: Frontier of Pandora. It gets a release date of December 7th, 2023. So that is sometimes, that's an interesting time frame. Usually most of the big releases of the year have already been out, but sometimes a release will trickle into December. I don't have a lot of hope for this game, just being honest. I think it might just be more fan servicey than anything. I don't have a big affinity for Avatar, the series anyways. I've seen the first movie. I don't have a strong reaction to it either way. It was okay to me. But I think a lot of people love it. I know a lot of people love it, so it's very popular. So this could be, people want to see one of their favorite things adapted into a video game. I think that's cool. I think if they execute, it could be really fun. But I just don't know if this will be something I ultimately get into. The graphics do look cool in this game, all the different worlds or biomes. I think biome is one of the more overused words in the video game description industry these days. People want to tout all the biomes in the game, but it's just basically different levels or areas. But it's just a popular word that it doesn't grind my gears, but I guess maybe it does. This is a first-person action adventure. You'll see players control, I guess they say a Navi. I don't know if it's just Navi, but trained by the RDA to fight against their own people. The gameplay looks reminiscent of Far Cry. So I heard Nextlander mention that. I heard this article I read mention that. Myself watching it, you could see some of the comparisons there. So I don't think that's a bad thing. I think Far Cry has pretty decent open world gameplay. And if you're mixing it with like a franchise you're really into and really like the lore and the characters, I think maybe that could be a good combination, or at least allow for, a good bit of gameplay. I just don't know. I just can't imagine the story is going to be hitting that hard in this game, and I can't imagine the gameplay is going to be super interesting. I think this is looking more like B game territory to me with, a bigger budget. It looks good. It's going to have a lot of marketing push, but I just don't think it's going to be I think it could be solid at best, is my opinion on it. But I could be wrong. But Avatar Frontier Pandora looks cool, very colorful looking. I think that's neat. That's really all I have to say about Avatar Frontier Pandora. But hopefully they can execute that and make the Avatar fans happy. Would be my hope. All right, the last thing I want to talk about from this show could be something I possibly play. It's called Assassin's Creed Mirage. I'm a long time-ish Assassin's Creed fan. I was, the first one's still my favorite, and there's a few others I've played throughout the years, a decent bit, but they've kind of, Assassin's Creed are a little bit samey to me. Haven't really changed things up too much. They've kind of got away from the stealth stuff in later years, and, this one they're saying they're going back to basics with stealth-centric gameplay is what they are touting. The gameplay is focusing on there is always a discreet way to take out your enemies, whether that's through the hidden blade, blow darts, or smoke bombs. I believe the new character's name is called Basim or Basim, Basim, Basim would be my main guess. The game takes place in 19th century Baghdad and will follow Basim, or however you say that name, in a tragic coming-of-age story. So this game launches October 12th, 2023, 10/12/2023. It's Assassin's Creed foray back into having a release, and I think all the descriptors on this sound good. I just don't know how they're going to execute it, and I don't know if it'll be interesting enough to, take attention away from some of the other open world games or games that are out as well. Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom is an excellent open world third person action game that is doing new things and has great physics throughout the world. And I just don't know if you can go back to something so bland kind of thing at this point. It's kind of like the, I guess I am going to diss it, but Horizon, like the Horizon series. I think once you play something like Zelda, it's just far more interesting unless you're just really into, I don't know, it just feels more modern. Some of these games like Assassin's Creed, maybe Horizon a little bit, feel a little bit more of a thing of the past, especially after the second release of Zelda. 2017's Breath of the Wild, and then 2023 Tears of the Kingdom are doing some pretty amazing things for open world, third-person action games, and really setting the bar, at a different standard than just your normal, have a world, you climb a tower, go fight some people, and that's about it. You can explore the world, and I just feel like with some of these games, you know what to expect, and that's my worry here with Assassin's Creed Mirage. It's just going to be exactly what we expect, and not really much more than that. But if they can do a decent job of meeting our expectations, Assassin's Creed has a big fan base, I would say. I just don't know. I think they need something really, really big to get a lot of people back on board, and I just don't know if this is going to be it. But I'm gonna say, the signs are positive for it right now. I just don't know if that's generally going to come to fruition, but we will see. So just something else to keep up with. As I'm building a release calendar for the year. I like that, these are a little bit later in the year, so it could be tempting to buy. It's fun. I love purchasing video games, and I can't purchase them all, but, sometimes a game will sneak in at the perfect time, and you want to pick it up. So this, I don't know if anything else in October at the moment. I'm also not really racking my brain too hard on what's coming out, but I know there is some stuff in the fall, so it could be tough, but we'll see. Assassin's Creed Mirage is looking promising, and, the Ubisoft Forward was pretty cool. I watched most of it. Few things I'm interested in there. So we talked about Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, Star Wars Outlaws, Avatar Frontier Pandora, Assassin's Creed Mirage, and there was more stuff discussed in that show. Just these are the things that I thought were most interesting and I would have the most chance at playing. But go watch that show for yourself. And if I missed anything or you think anything is exceptionally cool, email DepLewisShow@gmail.com. I am willing to double back and check some stuff out. So Ubisoft Forward, that happened. Another event that happened was the Capcom event. I didn't actually watch this one, but shout out to IGN for the coverage as well. There wasn't much here that I think I would play. From reading, I read the whole summary from Capcom, and there's two things that I think that I just wanted to point out to you today and talk about. Dragon's Dogma 2. I know Dragon's Dogma is a very popular game. I watched Jeff Gerstmann play a good bit of this, and another one I don't know if I would play it myself, but I just think it looks cool, so maybe I'll get into the second one if it reviews really well. But they showed a gameplay trailer showing off the large, wide fantasy world players will explore. Capcom said the world is 4 times the size of the original, and the gameplay is designed for players to creatively tackle combat in whatever way they think of. No release date, but the game is coming to PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and Steam. This is a game that I feel like is underrated. Dragon's Dogma, I feel like is underrated, and that's just me saying that for not playing it. So I think a lot of people will be excited for this release, and maybe it could garner some more mainstream attention if it really does hit and if they really execute some stuff. I think they're just faced with the Zelda problem as well, of, they're making a third-person, fantasy world action game kind of thing, RPG kind of elements, and you have to do that really well these days because, the industry is moving forward, and some of these games are changing things up. So Dragon's Dogma 2, I hope they can execute very well. I don't know why this game has in my mind, it has maybe like a little bit of a Dragon Age feel, a little bit of like a Skyrim kind of Morrowindy kind of feel, and I do love that. So this could be something I get into. I just, this will be one I want to check, and I'll definitely want to see the reviews and kind of vibe and things people are saying about it before buying it, but it's on my radar, so I wanted to put it on your radar as well. All right, another game that is a franchise and a series I think is cool. I've never really gotten into it. I bought a trilogy of these games before on the Switch just so I can own them. I got it real cheap, but I've never actually dipped into them and played them. But there's a new game coming out called Apollo Justice, Ace Attorney Trilogy. It's a remaster of Ace Attorney 4, 5, and 6, and they are getting HD remasters in this compilation. And this trilogy is coming to Switch, PS4, Xbox One, and PC in early 2024. So now thinking about it, I think I own the trilogy that's Ace Attorney 1, 2, and 3. So this will be the next 3 in the trilogy. So just want to highlight that. This is something I could purchase one day. I could see myself getting into this franchise. I just have to find the time and the want. So we will see. But Apollo Justice, Ace Attorney Trilogy looks cool. And those are kind of really the only things I saw from Capcom event that interested me. There were more games talked about there, just more unknown quantities to me, or things that really just didn't spark my interest from the descriptions. But you should go watch that event or go watch IGN if you want to see all the coverage from the Capcom event. So those are the two showcases from last week that I wanted to highlight. And so now we're just going to talk about a few miscellaneous things here. I want to give just some random props to Xbox. I go back and forth on, if I like my Xbox or my PlayStation more. I'm a little bit more on the PlayStation side right now, just based on the controller and some of the games. I really do love the PlayStation controller. And it was, I don't know, that's not really too big of a conversation, but I want to give Xbox some props. I want to say it's cool being able to pre-install games that get announced. It really adds to the hype and it adds to my hype. And I was able to do this for Starfield and Forza Motorsport last week after Summer Games Fest, after the Xbox Showcase. They bring up an icon. You can pre-install a little bit, like a few megabytes, to get it on your, in your gaming section. You can add it. You can pin it to your home screen. It's just a really cool way to, when I boot up my console, I'm like, oh yeah, there's that Starfield icon. Oh yeah, there's that Forza icon. I can't wait to actually play these games. So I think that's a cool touch, and I think the other systems should do this as well as a like a promotional thing. I think it's really cool and smart, and it's a good way to get your game in the eyes of people before it comes out. And I just wanted to say that's really cool. So I'm giving Xbox some props there. All right, so let's get into the release calendar for the next couple months. I was going through this, seeing what I would possibly want to buy. I keep talking about I have a gift card, so I want to buy a game at some point, but I just don't know. It's hard to. I have a little bit of I definitely have a backlog, but I have a mountain of really good games I want to try building up, and that I'm currently playing. So that's mainly I'm talking about Zelda, Humanity, and Street Fighter. And I guess mainly I mean Zelda and Street Fighter. Those are the two games I'd like to spend most of my time playing right now. And Street Fighter, I haven't really dedicated any time to diving into it yet, so that is a tall order right there because I want to take a lot of time to play Street Fighter. So, that's most likely what's going to be taking my focus for the next couple months. But I want to talk about the releases. We have a couple more weeks left in June, so I want to talk about what's coming out. So Final Fantasy 16, I mentioned this earlier in the show, comes out 6/22/2023. So that's next week, and I don't know. I could be picking this up. It could be helping me over the next couple months with the games coming out, but we will see. I don't know. I just don't know if it's the right time to fit that game into my schedule. But I'm very, very interested in it. And then the other June release, I think, is possibly something. I don't know if I'll play this, but it's something. If I had unlimited funds and unlimited time, I would definitely be trying it. And that's Story of Seasons: A Wonderful Life. That comes to PS5, Xbox Series X and S, Switch, and PC. That comes out on 6/27/2023. So that is, I guess the week after next. I think that's right, if you're listening in real time. And this is a, a farming sim from, it's kind of, I guess it's the Harvest Moon world, I think is the correct, overarching thing. But Story of Seasons looks very cool. I love farming games. I love, Stardew Valley. I love Animal Crossing. I think this could be something I could get into if I ever played it. So it's just something on my radar for sure. I just don't know. I have it's really tough out here to have too many good games to play. But, those are the other 2 games for June that I would have my interest. So a couple weeks left, got those 2 games. And then for July, I don't know if I have any sure purchases for me. There's, obviously I like to use Game Informer. If you go to Google and type Game Informer video game releases 2023, they have a great article that details all the games with, did it with confirmed release dates and the ones that are TBD. So for July, I don't even know. I don't know why I put this game on the list because I don't think I'm interested in playing it, but Exoprimal, it comes to PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, Xbox One, and PC, 7/14/2023. I think the more interesting thing here, and I think the only reason I'm talking about this game now is there's going to be a Street Fighter 6 Exoprimal crossover or some Exoprimal content in Street Fighter 6, and Exoprimal deals with dinosaurs, so that's pretty cool. I think Exoprimal though is it's a shooter, like a team-based shooter kind of thing. That's not necessarily something I'm interested in playing these days. So I just wanted to put that on the list just to highlight it more for the Street Fighter stuff. But Exoprimal, I think a lot of people will be trying that. So you'll probably be hearing some news about that, and maybe I'll be talking about it if it has a pretty warm reception. So for the rest of July, Pikmin 4 comes out. That's the only possible one I could see myself purchasing in July. It comes out July 21st, 2023. I like the Pikmin franchise a good bit. I'm a Captain Olimar fan. It's just going to kind of depend on, how my other gaming is going up until then. I think everything's a little bit in flux right now with, all hands on deck for Zelda and Street Fighter for my gaming. So we'll see. Just kind of depends on where I get to. But Pikmin 4 is something I have on my radar for sure, and that's something I could double back and buy in the future. But just trying to go over some July releases, and another July release. It's not something I would purchase because I own this game on PS5, but I really like this game, and it's Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, and it's coming to PC on July 26, 2023. So just another July release in there I wanted to highlight for you, more so than myself. So I would say July is a pretty lax month for games I want to play. So it could be a good time to get caught up on the Street Fighter and play some other games. Could be a decent time to buy Pikmin if I'm somehow bored of the games I currently have. So I think Pikmin 4 is the main one I'm going to be tracking for July. So not too many releases that I'll be talking about on the show for July, it doesn't seem like. So you're going to be kind of hearing more about the backlog stuff that I have going on. So that's what it's seeming like. And that was what I was determining when going through this exercise here. And then August. So August is going to have a couple releases that I'm interested in. There's the game Bomb Rush Cyberfunk. This coming to Switch and PC on August 18th, 2023. That is, the game they showed off in Nintendo Direct earlier in the year, and I think it looks really cool, and I think that'll be a day one purchase for me and something I want to try, so that's really neat to look forward to. Bomb Rush Cyberfunk, go check that out. And then the other August release that I'm 75% of the way interested in, I'd love to hear how this reviews first because I've never really played games in the series, but Armored Core 6 comes out, Fires of Rubicon. It comes to PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, Xbox One, and PC on August 25th, 2023. This is something I'd be excited to play this if this game is reviewing well. It's made by From Software. I just don't know. I don't know. This is something that looks really cool. I would love to try this game either way. I just don't know if this is a game that I would play for a long time, if the combat is really, really hard. I think that's something I'm kind of learning about myself, is I'm not usually too determined to push myself through these hard combat games. So that was what was scaring me a little bit about Final Fantasy 16, but I don't know if that's a worry there. But, things like Elden Ring and Demon Souls, really require some precision in the combat, or even even games like Bayonetta scare me a little bit on the fighting aspect. So I don't know if Armored Core is going to be a little too over my head with the combat, or if the game's going to even review well and be cool. But something I'm definitely interested in, and that it could be a purchase for me in August. I wouldn't be too surprised. All right, so the other one in August that looks cool, I could possibly purchase this, is Samba de Amigo Party Central. It comes out on Switch on the Nintendo Switch on August 29th, 2023. And that's a rhythm game. I never really played it before, but I like the art style. I'm generally a fan of rhythm games, and it's something I'd like to play more of, and I think I would enjoy more if I played more. So something I'll be checking for. But this exercise right here was kind of to highlight that June, July, and August are going to be pretty light for new games for me. There's a few options, but I don't think anything is going to take over the hype of some of these games I have from earlier in the year. So I think it's a good time to kind of settle in for myself. And I'm going to be, playing some of these other games, talking about them a little more. I'll probably have more to say in the first section of this show for the next upcoming weeks, more so than this midsection. But I'll definitely keep you abreast of the releases coming out and what's happening, because that's what I like to do. But I just want to kind of say, hey, I think we've got a great pile of games right now from this year. I think in the next few months, it's the perfect time to kind of dive back into them. Unless Final Fantasy 16 is hitting really hard, or Pikmin 4 is doing something really different, or come August, Armored Core 6, it'd be really cool if that game's reviewing well and really surprising. I don't know, exceeding expectations is what I would say. But it looks like a good time. It's not. There are definitely games to play over the next couple of months if you want to, but there's been a bunch of great games earlier in the year, so I just think I'm in a good position right now to really dive into some of these games I purchased. Maybe buy another game here or there throughout these next couple of months, but I kind of have what I need to play and talk about on this show. So I just wanted to let you know about all of that. All right, so that's going to wrap up the mid section. We've smoked all our mid for this week. And we talked about the Ubisoft forward, including Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, Star Wars Outlaws, Avatar: Frontier of Pandora, and Assassin's Creed Mirage. We talked about the Capcom event, including Dragon's Dogma 2, Apollo Justice, Ace Attorney Trilogy. We talked about giving the Xbox some props. You can go ahead and do a little pre-install, get the icon on your Xbox for Starfield and Forza Motorsport, and that'll hopefully make you feel cool like it made me feel cool. And then we talked about the upcoming releases I think are interesting, or I have a slight interest in, for June, July, and August, and those are Final Fantasy 16, Story of Seasons and Wonderful Life, Exoprimal, Pikmin 4, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, coming to PC, Bomb Rush Cyberfunk, Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon, and Samba de Amigo Party Central. So we got games out the ass, games everywhere, games all over. So that's an awesome thing. Great thing for me and for you and for the Dep Lewis Show. So we are going to take another break on this Dep Lewis Show, episode 37. And then we're going to come back for the final section of the show, the miscellaneous talk section. We're going to talk some comedy. And then we're going to get into the worldwide world of sports. So come right back in just a second. You're going to hear some music. And don't go nowhere. Come back and listen to the last section of the Dep Lewis Show, episode 37. Welcome back to the final section of the Dep Lewis Show, episode 37. This is the miscellaneous talk section where we talk about some miscellaneous things that I'm interested in. And this week I have some comedy to talk about and some sports to talk about. So let's get started with the comedy. There's a comedian I like named Jeremiah Watkins. He has a new crowd work documentary called The Last Riff, and it's on YouTube. So go check this out. It's very cool. It has around 20,000 views when I watched it on the 13th, 6/13/2023. It released 7 days prior to that, so Jeremiah getting those thousands of views. It's on Jeremiah Watkins' YouTube channel. It is a play on The Last Dance. It's like he's showing you a set that he did, and he's like breaking down the film from each quarter. So he's like so he'll show you the video footage of the show that he's performing at, and then it'll cut to him in like a studio talking about like breaking down the film. He's like, this is where the first quarter gets interesting. This is where the second quarter things go bad. And third quarter, he's like, I really got to bring it home, that kind of stuff. So he's giving you some kind of commentary between the sets, which is really cool and interesting. And he's getting, I wrote different experiences with crowd members. I like how he mentions comedians always gravitate. Yeah, he mentions in this comedians always gravitate towards the person in the crowd not enjoying themselves. And he tries to win them over. So he does this twice in this show. There's a couple on the side. You can see that they hardly smile throughout the whole thing, and he finally kind of talks to them kind of midway through, and you can finally see the lady laughs at some point, and you can see the guy kind of cracks a smile but not really, so it's kind of fun and awkward to watch. And then he also talks about this group of ladies. I don't remember what they were doing. They might have been like a bachelorette party or something. I forget what he said, but it was like a table of women. And he said they weren't enjoying it, and I think it ended up being there were a table of dental hygienists. There was a dental convention going on wherever he was shooting this show, and so there was a lot of dental people in the crowd, which was pretty funny. And what else happened to this? He breaks the mic during the show, and then he gets a wireless mic and goes into the crowd and has some pretty good stuff happen from that. He talks about he has some Daniel Craig jokes and an impression. Oh yeah, there's some references to Harry Potter, The Fast and the Furious, and Hocus Pocus. He has a nerd lady in the crowd, kind of correcting some of his things, and then he kind of goes back on her and starts correcting some of her stuff. Yeah, I talked about that unhappy couple you see in the right corner of the stage on the screen. It's pretty funny. He talks about trucks and how men like trucks so much, and then he shouts out. This is another thing I like. There was a guy. He shouts him out. He shouts out a guy going to a comedy show by himself. So that's something I've done before. And this guy got sat at a table with 3 women, so that was pretty lucky. If he's into that sort of thing. So it's pretty cool. And he was Jeremiah kept referencing back to that guy a little bit, and it was just a really fun time. Cool crowd interactions. Jeremiah's really goofy and silly and does a lot of characters. He does his Gollum voice is amazing actually. It's an excellent impression of Mr. Gollum and his Precious. And go watch this. This was a fun thing to watch. More than anything, it was a little bit different, his own spin on it. I like the commentary. It was kind of like the director's cut of his not a special, but of his set that he was showing to you. So it's pretty cool. So go follow Jeremiah everywhere. He's awesome, and Jeremiah puts a lot of content out there on the internet, and go help run the numbers up on this crowd work documentary, The Last Riff by Jeremiah Watkins. I really enjoyed it, and shout out to Jeremiah. All right, another this was actually an official special, a more traditional special that came out, and it's from Mateo Lane. So I didn't know this was coming. I saw Mateo was on YMH this week, Your Mom's House podcast, and then he was also on Whiskey Ginger this week, so some good promotion there, and it got me to realize this special was out and go watch it. So it's on Mateo Lane's YouTube channel. It's called Hair Plugs and Heartache. It has 590,000 views as of 6/16/2023, and it's been out for 5 days. So Mateo is really running the numbers up, and that is crazy impressive. And this was a very fun special. I really enjoyed it. I would highly recommend it. Mateo is just kind of fun in general to watch, and this special was no exception. He even has some video game jokes in there, so that's pretty funny. He mentions that Fortnite is for the gays. He says that it's the only shooter where you can shoot people and decorate at the same time, so that's pretty funny. And then he talks about how he likes Call of Duty, and he says Call of Duty is either for straight men or like young boys or whatever. So, but he talks about how he likes to play it, and him and his other gay friend play it, and they get caught hiding in a closet at some point, and he just has some funny jokes around that. So it was cool to see some video game talk in there, and I wasn't really knowing that Mateo was a gamer, so that was pretty cool. Nice cool crossover here on the Dep Lewis Show. Talk about some comedy and a comedian who likes some games. So that's pretty cool. Mateo also mentions his friend Nick during this show and does an impression of him and says he talks like Squidward from SpongeBob, and it was really funny. And he talks about this video where they go to Olive Garden, so I went and actually watched that yesterday. I think I enjoyed that video just as much as the special. Him and his friend Nick go to Olive Garden, and they sit and have a meal and kind of review some of the stuff. And his friend Nick, it's his favorite restaurant. His friend Nick apparently only eats at chain restaurants, and they're in Times Square eating at Olive Garden. And Mateo is like mortified, and he kind of says he feels like he feels like he was sick after eating there, or like he just had worked out a whole bunch. He was saying it hit him like a Mack truck or whatever. But really, really good content from Mateo. So go watch his special, please, Hair Plugs and Heartache on YouTube, and then go back and watch that Mateo Lane and Nick eat at Olive Garden video. That's very funny. I saw that Mateo and Nick also did one where they make macaroni and cheese. I kind of want to go watch that. And I subscribed to Mateo's YouTube channel so I could keep up with all his videos because I was missing out on these. So go check those out. His friend, I forget what his name is, but Nick is his friend. You can go follow him on social media as well. He has a Twitter and an Instagram, so I started following him just to keep up with him, and it's very, very funny. So go check that out. He mentions, especially in the, when him and Nick eat at Olive Garden, Nick mentions his socials at the end, so you can go follow him there. Very, very cool. So 2 really cool comedy things that happened this week. Go check out Jeremiah and go check out Mateo. All right, let's get into the worldwide world of sports, one of my favorite worlds. The official NFL team of the Dep Lewis Show, the Carolina Panthers, let's see what we have to talk about this week. The one thing I want to highlight first: pay Brian Burns, Mr. Number Zero. Give him a huge bag of money. Extend Brian Burns. I say that every week until it happens. And I'm just going to keep banging that drum. Brian Burns needs to get paid. He's our best, probably the best player on our team, probably my favorite player on the team. He's young. He's epic. Seems like a good locker room guy. He has unlimited potential on the field. And having an edge rusher like him is crucial in the league. So please pay this man his money. And that's all I got to say about that. And then Brian Burns was talking about Bryce Young. Bryce Young has been reviewing so well, it seems like, from all his teammates. And Brian Burns I liked his comment about Bryce. He said he's a humble guy walking around the building, but he's humble where he knows he's a shit, so he can be humble. So I really like hearing that about it, and I hope that's going to translate to the field, because seems like a killer combination to have somebody who is the shit and is still humble and willing to put in the work and be one of the guys and do all that kind of stuff. So I think that's exactly what you want from a leader of your team or your quarterback, and I hope that is going to be the case for many, many years, and wishing Bryce all the success on my favorite team. So let's see what else we've had from this week. Adam Thielen, new receiver for the Panthers, said this is the best rookie class he's ever been around. I think that's mainly highlighted by Mr. Bryce Young, possibly some Mingo in there and some of the other guys, but I think that's really cool to say. I think it just really lends credence to Bryce Young is really impressing them out there, and that is exciting for a Panthers fan to hear and be able to see in a couple months when the preseason and the real season starts. Another thing that's not so positive is Pro Football Focus keeps dissing the Panthers. They've ranked the Panthers receivers as one of the worst in the league and the running backs as one of the worst in the league, and I just don't think this is going to be true. My friend has sent me both these articles, and I'm a little bit surprised to see them because, I think they have kind of a new group for both of these, but I think they're good. The running backs, we got Chuba Hubbard. I really like him. And we've added Miles Sanders, who is supposed to be our lead back. And we also still have Blackshear, I saw. He had some great games for us last year and has some really big turbos. And then our receivers, I don't think it's bad. We got, Terrence Marshall Jr., we got Adam Thielen, we got DJ Chark, we got Laviska Shenault, we got Hayden Hurst. We got Mingo, the young guy. I think Mingo's going to surprise people. We got Ian Thomas still. So, I don't know. I think it's looking better than Pro Football Focus is predicting. And I think they're not calculating in the Bryce Young factor. I think he's really going to be a force multiplier on this team and really boost some of these guys up and his whole teammates. The way it's seeming it's going to go. So I'm kind of getting on the train of I think the Panthers can win their division. I don't know if they're going to win a Super Bowl with a rookie quarterback, but I'm thinking Bryce Young's going to impress some people and exceed expectations, and I'm ready to watch it and see it. So, go Panthers. That's what I want to say. Go Panthers. All right, so the final sport we're going to talk about this week is the official sport of the Dep Lewis Show, Major League Baseball, and the official team of the Dep Lewis Show, and the best team in the universe and all the land and all the galaxies, the Atlanta Braves. So, let's see. They started this week off in Detroit. Okay, so start the week off in Detroit, then head back home versus the Rockies. There were 7 games last week, so a lot of baseball to watch. The Braves lost Monday 6-5 to the Tigers. That was kind of surprising. Tigers are a little bit in the mediocre lane right now. And then the Braves got rained out Tuesday against the Tigers, so that spawned the doubleheader on Wednesday. And there was lots of runs on both sides there, and the Braves won both of those games in a doubleheader. So love to see that. And then the Braves moved on to the Rockies. They won Thursday, they won Friday, and they won Saturday against the Rockies so far. The Braves have had 8 runs, and 10 runs in those 3 games against the Rockies. So they've been putting up a lot of runs this week, which has been nice to see. They haven't exactly been shutting the other team out, but the Braves have been putting up enough runs to win. In the game last night, the Rockies were throwing a pitcher out there throwing 50 miles per hour. So they had kind of exhausted all the pitching resources they wanted to use in that beatdown of a game. And it's always kind of fun to see those scenarios come in, especially if your team is on the winning side of that. So that was fun to watch. So I anticipate another win against the Rockies today against the Braves at 1:35 on this nice Sunday, this Father's Day Sunday of June 18th, 2023. So I will be reporting to you next week on the results of that game since I'm recording before that today. And then next week the Braves have Monday off, so they finally get a break tomorrow. And then they're at the Phillies in Philadelphia, then at the Reds in Cincinnati to end the week. So 6 games right there. I think the Braves should, they should definitely win 3 of them. I'd be happy if they won 4. The Phillies and the Reds are neither one of those teams is a slouch, so I think it could be a really competitive week. And, hopefully the Braves will continue with the runs that they've been putting up this week and bring that to these next two series as well. And then I hope they have a good day of, rest on Monday. I think it's important because there are a lot of baseball games, and, there's still been some injuries going around. Sean Murphy a little bit banged up. Jesse Chavez banged up. Those have been the main ones from last week. So, bad news. I don't think the Murphy one's going to be serious. Seems like the Chavez one could be a little more serious, but we need both of those guys, and they've both been having excellent seasons, so we really could use them back. And luckily we're still early in the season enough to have the time to get these guys healthy. The Braves have a decent lead in the division, so they're doing all the things right. Ronald Acuna Jr., my favorite player in the whole world, has been playing out of his mind, and that's been continuing, and I love to see that. Love that he's healthy, and I just love the Braves. So go Braves. It's the best team in the universe. And the last little baseball thing I want to talk about is a shout out to a guy on my shit list, on my baseball shit list. It's more of like a kind of respect your enemy list more than an actual shit list. But Jordan Alvarez, Mr. Air Jordan, he's actually hurt for 4 weeks. That's something I would never wish upon him, even though he's on my shit list. So I just wanted to highlight that he's hurt, and I hope he comes back with a speedy recovery, and I hope he comes back to balling out like he was, because he's not making my shit list unless he's really balling out hard. So Jordan Alvarez, I'm sorry to see you got hurt for 4 weeks, but I respect your balling, and I hope you come back soon, sir. And that's all I want to say. I don't wish bad upon anyone on my shit list. It's more just kind of in fun and in jest, and more so respect to the opponent or the enemy, and more than anything. So get back, Mr. Jordan, and I'm hoping I hope your timeline gets sped up, and I hope you're back to normal for the rest of the year is what I hope. I wanted to say that on the end of the Dep Lewis Show, episode 37. So that is going to wrap up the miscellaneous talk section for this week. We talked about some comedy. We talked about Jeremiah Watkins, The Last Rift, a crowd work documentary on YouTube, on Jeremiah Watkins' YouTube channel. Go watch that. I really enjoyed it. And then go watch Mateo Lane's new special on his YouTube channel, Mateo Lane, called Hair Plugs and Heartache. I really, really enjoyed that. Very, very fun. Both really great comedians and just fun people to follow online in general. We talked about the Carolina Panthers. Just in the offseason, pay Brian Burns, and the Bryce Young hype continues. Then we talked about the Atlanta Braves, having a great week last week. I believe that's only one loss they had out of the 7. So I will take it. And then the Braves have another game today against the Rockies. And then next week on to the Phillies and the Reds. And that is all we have to talk about in the miscellaneous talk section today. And that is all we have to talk about on this episode of Dep Lewis Show, episode 37. So I just want to thank you for listening as always. You're the best listeners in the world if you're listening to this show. Hopefully I'm providing you with the best video game insight of what's going on and what's going to be happening in the world. And that is my intention. So please come back every week to listen to what I've been playing, what I think is interesting, all the big happenings in the video game industry, and then some miscellaneous talk. You never know what you're going to get. You're normally going to get some book talk, maybe some comedy talk, and you're definitely getting some sports talk. But the miscellaneous talk section is open for whatever, and you just never know what to expect. So the Dep Lewis Show is here for you every week, giving you the video game news that you want and that you need, and then you might even get some other information that you didn't know you wanted in the end. So it is the perfect show for you to listen to every week. So come have a great time, and just thank you for listening to the show every week. If you'd like to support it even more than you already do by just listening, please follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Please like, subscribe, rate, comment, review. Turn on notifications. Tell a friend, tell an enemy, tell a dog, tell a cat, tell a bird, tell a squirrel, tell a giraffe, tell anyone that has a limb to go press a podcast to hit play. Email any questions or feedback to DepLewisShow@gmail.com. That email box is open 24/7, 365. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Patreon, and more on my Buzzsprout page. The Buzzsprout page is the perfect hub for you to find the perfect place to listen to the Dep Lewis Show weekly. If you'd like to support even further, please go to www.patreon.com/DepLewisShow. For $1 a month, you can subscribe to the ground floor tier and support the show in the best way possible. Clips of the show are on YouTube and TikTok, where you can see some gameplay footage along with podcast audio, so you can actually see what I'm talking about. So please go follow and like those. And just thank you for being you. Thank you for listening. Thank you to all the video game creators in the world, all the video games. I hope you have a wonderful week next week. Hope you have a good day off tomorrow if you have the day off for Juneteenth. And have a wonderful week. And I'll be back next week to talk about more video games and much more. So I look forward to it, and I hope you do too. And I will see you next week for episode 38 of the Dep Lewis Show. Bye.